Previously on Your View, welcome to the show. I am Morayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I never do this alone. I have the ladies of Your View. Morning, ladies.
Good morning, Morayo.
Mike in the building.
Yo.
Mike, I love you, Adire.
Thank you very much. Can I say Happy New Year to our beautiful audience?
Yes, Happy New Year. Oh, that's true.
I
We
met
said it
three of
last
them
week
today as I was
Wednesday,
coming
but
in.
we said it last Wednesday.
They caught me almost in flagrante delicto. No makeup, everything.
Mike, it's normal. You felt like, how you see me when I was
I'm naked.
But okay, let me come say hello. We have a co-host today. Amina Adams is joining us. She's an accountant. Welcome to the show. So tell us a little bit about yourself, something that we don't know.
Well, I also present TV programs, but my niche is Islamic media, so...
Islamic media?
Yeah.
Okay, so you try to project the Islamic...
Beauty of Islam, try to dispel the negativities around Islamophobia and all that, so that's what we try to do as often.
Good to have you on the show.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Are you married?
Yes, very.
Okay, I just wanted to know.
Yes, I am.
Okay, Biajuli, how you doing?
I'm doing amazing. Hello, everyone. You guys look beautiful today. So, last year, December, this is more like a testimony. Last year, December, I think on the 20-something, somebody reached out to me on my Instagram and said they wanted me, they've been listening to me on TV and they wanted me to start writing articles for their magazine. And I was like, okay. They say they like my angles when it comes to marriage and they want me to write on that. So, you know, and they gave me, it was just a few days to Christmas, they gave me a deadline of submitting 10 articles. So while I was still like, should I do this, should I do that? You know me now, I don't run away from challenges. So I said, okay, I'm going to take this. And they said they were going to, I should send my account details. I felt it was a joke, like, I didn't expect the fast response that I got.
2 minutes testimony has ended.
I'm telling you.
and what did God do?
Bagang, and they paid, and I delivered, and I started, and now I'm a writer.
You know how you're doing testimony, John? You're like, please, round up.
Hurry up.
We have any first timers in the building? But please stand. We have to acknowledge. Thank you for coming. Yay! Thank you so much for taking our time to come. You may have your seat. It's fantastic. I know school started today for us.
Oh.
And you know the kids they don't want to get
Wednesday.
Up this morning. Yeah, we don't do Monday. My school we let all of you start school.
Oh.
Then we now start on Wednesday.
Yeah, the big boys.
Yeah, the big boys. Yeah, right. So the kids they don't want to get up this morning. You know, we had to. I mean, I've been trying to prepare them since Sunday. That guys, school starts on Wednesday. Bedtime is 9 p.m. Go to bed. They didn't go to bed last night. In fact, last night they stayed till 11 o'clock. This morning it was difficult getting them up for bed. But you know, I was happy to drop them off. And oh goodness, these children, they are so lazy.
Oh, it's not their fault.
Jesus Christ. Going to school today was a chore.
As in?
But finally, we just dropped them off. I think the house is now quiet and peaceful. My house girl is even happy. Yes, but I'm happy that school started. Yeah. So how are you guys doing? I have 1 more minute. Anybody wants to share an experience with us, with the kids? Anything happening? Anybody in the audience? Mr. Dan? Oh, yes. Yes. I don't have a mic. I don't have a microphone. I need to hear you. I can't hear you. Our audience, we don't have a mic yet. Okay, we'll talk to you after the break. Let's go to the break. When we come back, we'll go through the front pages of the newspaper. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. 2023, succession talks now unnecessary, says Tinubu. And let me quote him here. He says, of course, restlessness of politics is going to be there. But any lover of this country will not talk about succession plan yet. That's the truth. Yet, politics is intoxicating, it's flamboyant, it's interesting. We have to relax and show concern for the people of the country. Buhari has the character to refuse third term in office. Court stops planned electricity tariff hike. President or INEC, elections must reflect people's wish. Police restrict parents as medics give blood to baby. Kwara stays action on Saraki's land. And probe stops reburial of Lasso students. Okay. I think we have already practically quoted what
exactly. I was waiting for you to
Governor
say
of Lagos
that.
State has said, but pretty much it was just telling us that he knows he trusts the president, and he expects that we should also trust the president. He's a man of integrity, and he would definitely not accept the temptation of to go for a third term, and that definitely that we should stop talking about 2023, that right now they have to focus on delivering democracy to the people and forget about 2024 now. Another story was the babies. Do you want to talk about babies?
Yes.
No, not the babies. The Jehovah's Witness. This is a continuation of this. Who read that story?
Okay, I didn't take the story.
Okay, so yesterday, remember there was a baby that had jaundice. The parents are Jehovah's Witness, and they don't want them to give the baby blood transfusion. So yesterday, amidst pressure from the parents and church members, the police had to barricade them and stop them from getting to the hospital so that they can actually give blood to the baby. And they actually said that eventually, because the reporter asked them, well, would they hand over the baby back to the mother? The social worker said, of course they will. Okay. You know, as long as she's calm. But the first things first is to make sure the baby stays alive and stabilize the baby. And I think it's a hot topic. The topic we need to discuss, because where do we draw the line between religion and saving lives? I mean, it's something we need to, it's an important conversation to have, because when this child becomes 10, 15, 50 years old, would he be thankful, would she be thankful?
But even though the child was born to Jehovah's Witness parents, the child doesn't have to be, may choose not to be a Jehovah's Witness. So they have to give the child its fundamental human rights, the right to live.
Right.
That's
my
belief.
Before imposing your faith on the child.
You are imposing your faith on the child.
As I said, it's a conversation worth having. So before we bring people from Jehovah's Witnesses also to hear their own views, because it's important that we get all sides of the story. Let's move on. Any other story in the nation? Nobody else? Yeah. Okay, let's move on to The Punch. PDP-APC clash as 30 die in Borno bridge explosion. And the conjoined twins in a 12-hour operation. 78 medical officers separate them. Anti-Boko Haram troops alleged neglect threaten to back out. Government ordered suspension of undergraduate burials, says family. Lagos plans tax expansion to fund their 1.17 trillion naira budget. It's too early to decide 2023 presidential zoning, says Tinubu. Lagos Rivers headquarters of money laundering alleges Mago. I would have loved to read that story. And Mane Oshoala win Africa's Best Players Awards. Okay, which one are we taking?
The baby story.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. So these babies, conjoined twins, I want to get out the proper information. Yes. Where, you know, separated successfully by 78 medical doctors. After they were born, they discovered that they shared one liver, and they had to put them under intense observation for 15 months to ascertain if they are able to survive after the surgery. So they got the pediatric surgeons, cardio surgeons now. They got the plastic surgeons, nurses, a lot of them, about 78 of them, carried out medical officers carried that, you know, surgery out, and it was really, really successful. And they would have spent about 20 million if they've traveled out of the country. So the medical director of the hospital is saying that we shouldn't lose confidence in our system in Nigeria, that if all things are working well, we have doctors who can beat even people outside the country. Instead of, you know, focusing on traveling out more, let's support what we have.
I think it's a very commendable. What happened? I think it's very commendable, because when I first read it, 78, I was thinking it was abroad, and then I looked, I was like, it's actually in Nigeria.
Abuja, yes.
You know, and it's not releasing Siamese twins. It's not an easy job. Even abroad.
World, yes.
But the good thing is that they didn't have the same heart, which was great. It was the liver that was joined and other parts of the body. So it wasn't that easier. But at the same time, the good news is that they didn't have to split the heart, share a heart. But the babies are so cute. Did you guys see the picture?
Cute.
Yes, oh my goodness.
Cute babies.
Goodness and mercy, that's their name.
Oh.
And goodness and mercy shall follow them all the days in Jesus' name. Okay. Is there any other story?
There's another story there.
Go ahead.
From the Punch.
Yes, please.
My brother stabbed our father to death.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was basically a case of a prodigal son, as it were, because he depended on drugs a lot. And so he was always coming back to steal from the parents. And I think at the point he was not allowed in the house. So the time when he committed the offense, in 2015, to be precise, November 2015, they didn't expect him to have access to the house because the house was locked. The mother and daughter were downstairs, so the daughter is the eyewitness reporting in the courts. And so she just saw her brother running down the stairs with blood-stained shirt and was wondering, how did he even get into the house? And then so she rushed upstairs with her mother and opened the doors and found their dad, you know, in pool of blood.
And before that, he had stolen the meter to sell,
Yes.
just to fund his drug use.
Yes.
Yeah. Moving on now to Daily Sun. Tinubu opens up on third term for Buhari zoning. Presidency can fight over terrorism. IPOB must stop others in unity in Biafra struggle, says Uwazirike. Edo Assembly crisis, court stops INEC government from conducting by-elections. Rerun elections in 11 states. There must be free, fair polls, Buhari tells INEC. I read that story. I'm thinking to myself, I wish he said that before the Kogi and the financial election, because he really gave them the Riot Act. I mean, I'm really happy of what he said, but it's just that he was saying that there must not be, it must be free and fair. There must be the.
He could have said it. He could have said it during. He could have said it before, during, and after.
The Bayelsa Kogi elections.
And he didn't say it any of the three.
But anyway,
he's saying we saw the mago that happened.
Well, he's saying it now ahead of the rerun of the 11 states. Okay, then another story in Daily Sun.
Christian Association
Yes,
of Nigeria in a battle of words with the presidency, saying that the presidency should do all that within their power to ensure that they rescue people who have been kidnapped. And most of the time, most of these Boko Haram insurgents have been targeting attacks at Christians.
Communities.
Yeah, Christian communities. But the presidency is saying that they shouldn't turn it out into a religious affair. That, you know, they are working, they are doing all that they can to make sure that the insurgents are being curbed and the menace is ended at the end of the day. But instead, I would have suggested that instead of all these battles, let's know the plan of the federal government to handle. We still have some Chibok girls are still in custody. We still have Leah Sharibu.
I was just going to mention
exactly.
her.
So don't tell us, don't just fight over, don't give us what.
To add to what the government said, they said they will not tolerate any religious rascality. I can't.
If I can add to that,
please.
I think what they're trying to do really is to help us all unite on one front. And we have a common enemy. The Boko Haram is a common enemy to both Muslims and Christians. And the earlier we recognize that, the better. So let's stop dividing along religious lines. And I think that's what that message is.
Moving on now to the Nigerian Tribune. Assembly crisis. Court stops INEC Edo from conducting the by-elections. Disquiet over takeoff of Amotekun, a Southwest security outfit. Falana says secret declaration aids concealment of stolen assets. How theater commander others survived Boko Haram ambush. And Okada, 30 billion naira business that threatens Nigeria's future. It's an interesting article. I think we should all read it. Buhari overrules minister, reverses suspension of the REAMD. Okay, the Okada's article was interesting because according to this report, Okada riders nationwide makes 30 billion naira daily.
So what's the
But they don't pay any taxes to the government. They pay only levies to the various associations. But this is money that is slowly going without being taxed. And that's money that we can actually use for development.
Mariah, do you have an idea how much they are extorted from?
Exactly.
Like this
We're talking about the levies. We're talking about the levies.
Illegal levies.
The idea
So
is
many
to,
of
if
them.
we can impose proper taxes such that they won't be paying the levies anymore. Let's channel this money, 30 billion daily.
The money, listen, the money that they pay to this association, the money they pay to the Agberos.
Yes.
If those Agberos were delivering as tax, the government will
make so much
money.
money.
Will make money.
So that's what the government is saying, that instead of allowing these Agberos to be collecting the money, let's find a proper system to ensure that these monies come to the government coffers so that we can actually aid development. That's pretty much what they're saying.
Go and collect it from the Agberos now.
Exactly.
So
They should actually go work with me.
Yes, so that, you know, the Southwest has commissioned a security outfit, Amotekun, which is supposed to be inaugurated tomorrow, but there are fears that it may not be inaugurated. The governors have, you know, been called for an emergency meeting to say what exactly is the scope of this security outfit, if they are going to be working like a community policing.
I thought the government was helping them with this.
Yeah, so they are just fears. The details are not out there yet, but let's see what will happen after today.
Okay, let's move on to the Vanguard. Presidency can't tangle over rising insecurity. We talked about that. Let's find a story we've not taken. Nigeria's power sector records 14 billion naira loss in 1 week. It's vendetta against our families, says Senator Gbenga Saraki, and Lagos to fund deficit with 97.5 billion naira borrowing. So Senator Saraki is speaking here, Oh, I actually love the article, and I wish you guys can read it. She was very clear that she said she did not want to say anything concerning it because it's her party. However, she asked that the Kwara State APC should carefully not allow a few elements within their own agenda, other than governance, to turn their personal vendetta into official position of the APC in the state. So she doesn't want a situation whereby a personal vendetta against her father's property, is being seen as the APC stance in her state. And that the people are trying to make the Otoge win like it was a win against her family. That wasn't that. It was actually a win against the PDP government that was in their state. It was an interesting article. There's then a story in Vanguard, the power sector. Who has that story?
So quickly, the Nigerian power sector conducted a report showing that they lost over 14 billion in the first week of 2020 because of certain constraints, and one of them is the fact that they could not supply sufficient gas, and they were not able to distribute properly the transmissions that they've had. So they're saying also that about 28 power plants were not able to generate electricity, and so some were not able to generate, others that generated were not able to distribute properly. So they are working together now to see how they can distribute more as they are generating.
Okay, our last paper this morning, Daily Trust. Details scanty as Operation Motekun starts southwest. Warm clothes markets boom in Jos over freezing. Actually, I know Mariam is there, so she's buying a lot of warm clothes. Electricity tariff of FG Disco should do. And Oshoala crowned African Women's Player of the World. Please, let's give her a round of applause. So, if you are into selling jackets, and
they're
clothes,
selling,
please go to Jos.
they're actually second hand. Yeah. And if you remember, they just raided an Igbo market in Lagos for these okreka things. But now it is paying these people in Jos.
We should move business.
Please, if you are selling jackets,
the temperature is 6.7.
Jeez.
Can you imagine? And I think earlier on in the week, it was 8 in Britain. Yes. So you can imagine how cold it is, and the difference between there and here is
visa. It's visa.
It's not visa.
The difference between Jos
is that the houses in England and Europe are warm. Here we are not prepared for this kind of cold. There is heating. There's a heating system there. Here we're not prepared. So inside you will be cold, outside you will be cold. Everybody don't face Africa. I beg, give me jackets, yo.
Okay. On that note, this day has 20 brands to watch in 2020. Interesting. Okay, unfortunately, that's all we can take on Front Page Review. When we come back, we'll discuss a few hot topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we're minding our business when we saw a tweet by Reno Omokri saying that examinations are a test of memory and not so much a test of intelligence. He asked people to read just to pass the exam, but don't think that you are unintelligent because you have failed. You just might end up working for a classmate who failed. Do you agree? Or have you even been through this experience? You can join the conversation on 070-8066-8014. You can also tweet us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YoVTVC so we can read your tweet. Okay. Interestingly, I was with some people yesterday and they were talking about the fact that a lot of young boys especially are dropping out of school because they don't understand. They are having it difficult to absorb what they're being taught in classrooms. And as they drop out, the streets are ready to grab them. In fact, the street is a ready market. If you cannot handle, if school is not good for you, it's too hard for you, just come. We will take you and you make it on the streets because people actually make it. You actually get by on the streets. So when children have difficulties in passing examinations and become frustrated and they are made to feel unintelligent, the streets are ready to absorb them. So what can we begin to do to change how education is seen such that we bring the fun part of learning into schools? I'd like to start with you. Go ahead.
I was just going to take us back to when we were in school as well, and how many times we very barely understand what we were taught in class. A lot of times we start to study into the exams. You can handpick those that were geniuses and love to study and always in the classroom or reading at prep times. Go back to secondary school days, how many people rarely studied? So we start to study just before the exams. And what we do then is to cram our way through and just get into the exam and then download it. Isn't that what happens? So that sort of buttresses the point that Reno Omokri was trying to raise there, where it's not necessarily a test of intelligence, and indeed a lot will suffer. So if, for example, I graduated with 2-2, and someone that came up with first class doesn't know half of what I know because I understood every single thing that I learned while in class, while he just bamboozled his way through.
Crammed
exactly.
it. And so, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, for me, I want us to have a deep understanding of what that statement means. Intelligence is wide. It's really, really wide because according to Howard Gardner, there are 9 different types of intelligence. We have mathematical intelligence, we have spatial, visual intelligence, we have verbal intelligence, we have, logical intelligence. We have so many of them, about 9 of them. So you can't really put somebody on a pedestal and test that person's intelligence. But what examination does is that you are tested on a subject. So you're supposed to have a knowledge of a subject. If you say, I want to become a medical doctor, and you have been taught in the art of medicine, it is expedient that you are tested in what you have been taught to enable you go to the next level. So we cannot take away the importance of examinations. Now, when it comes to intelligence, proper and knowledge, intelligence is wide. We have people who are not suited for the 4 walls of the classroom, who are better at technical jobs. So the problem that we haven't solved, or the solutions we are looking for, is how to get people fitted into the right things they have a natural inclination for. So when we get that...
you ended, because you've actually just hit the nail on the head. Because that was where I was driving at. School is important, absolutely, because we must be literate. However, where Nigeria is today,
that's a problem.
We need to totally redress how we dish out education to Nigerians. So there's some that, just like you said, are not fit for that classroom. And we need to begin to turn them out, as I said, because the streets are ready to take them, absorb them immediately.
And they do well.
And so I was telling somebody that if we can create we talk about ecosystems. Ecosystems of vulcanizing, mechanics, carpentry. There are various systems that we need ways where they can absorb these guys. Not call them menial jobs, though, because these are actually highly technical jobs that need properly technical understanding. So find ways where the government can actually help facilitate this ecosystem such that it becomes a hub. Because the truth is that many of our young people are failing in schools and they're being taken as unintelligent. And many of them, they drop out. And that's a bigger problem than just passing or not or failing an exam. Mikey, I'd like to hear your thoughts.
That's where the intelligence, the 9 different intelligence that you're talking about, because people are gifted, and I find that the system here especially, it doesn't nurture your talents.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. If you are a good, like I remember when my daughter was in secondary school, and she can draw, she's a very good artist. And I said, look, Rolary, go and do art. That's where your talent is. And she was like, no, no, she has to do science. And I was like, science? I mean, my own brain, I was like, no, you will fail. What do you want me to do? Literature? But because she saw that where she will make money was in science, she left that talent. And now she's working, she has this job that she's not really happy in.
No job satisfaction.
Okay, but
she will likely go back to
possibly.
that talent.
Let me take this call. Good morning, are you there? Hello, Wale, are you there?
Hello?
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yeah, I just listened to you guys' conversation about testing. But my point is, when you talk about intelligence, the education in this Nigeria is terrible.
Okay.
My brother went to the US and went to study in them.
I'm having trouble hearing you, Wale. Wale, it's not clear. I'm so sorry. I'll come to the audience. I know a few comments might be in the audience, but the issue of ensuring that when we put pressure on kids to pass exams, You know, I have a lot of parents who feel that, Mariel, my son is not doing very well in school. I'm very worried, and they are bombarded with lesson teachers upon lesson teachers. My kids go to lesson, and I don't stress me. My own is that, listen, as long as I know that you understand what you're being taught. Yeah. Now, there's some mistakes you can make, yes, but I don't put my kids under unnecessary pressure. Yeah. But today, we still do that. Kids must pass. You must get that 95%. The ones that is getting B or C, do they have 2 heads? Okay. Why can't you have, the one that is getting A, do they have 2 heads? Why are you getting B's and C's? Okay. That's the question parents still ask today.
Yeah. So,
you know, the one that amuses me with parents, maybe you are getting F when you are...
As a parent.
As a parent. You now be telling your child, me? I was A all the time. What do you take it from? You don't take it from me. Will you?
We say that to encourage them.
We say,
funny enough, that happened to my father and my younger brother. He was always hounding me. You don't know maths, you don't know maths. One day, my brother found his WAEC. My father's WAEC. The maths was F. Yes. And my younger brother just carried it. Daddy, stop harassing BC. She took your brain.
But it's okay. Good morning, are you there? Hello? Oh, I think we lost that call.
But, okay, may I quickly say that?
Let me come to her. That comes to you. Go ahead.
Right. I just want to take the conversation to another angle, actually with professional exams and what have you. So, for example, someone that has done BSc accounting, have a master's degree in accounting, and then there's a professional body of exams, either ICANN or ACC or whatever it is that you have to take. And then you go through all that. Does that make you the best of accountants, really? Because you've really just done exams after exams after exams. Whereas, what if after your BSc or while you're doing BSc, the way the technology, the Abatex and the likes of them do it, 1 year, get into the job, get your hands dirty, start to prepare tax computation, start to do work in an office environment, volunteer. So if that was incorporated officially legit, will that change the way things are done? Because what we've done now is to literally sideline those that do not pass the exams, the paper exams, even though they know the onions, they know their onions, but they are not able to portray that because the exam alone, just the term exam puts a lot of anxiety on you, and you know, you get into the hall and you are blank. Right. I've been in an exam hall before, and for 2 hours I was just like this and blank, completely blank, even though I'd spent 6 months preparing. Wow. So exam, the term itself just does the wrong thing.
Fantastic. Let me take this call that comes to you, Jalil. Biola, are you there? Are you there?
Yes, hello.
Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please. You're live.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Femi Akimbola.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to contribute to the subject matter of the day.
Please, go ahead.
Concern.
Hello?
The test for examination. I think it's better to say examination can be a test for brilliance, not intelligence.
Yes.
You can be brilliant and not intelligent. It's a test of memory as...
Oh, sorry then.
Yeah, so I think in answer to your question or your analogy is the fact that, you know, we don't like to stress ourselves as human beings. And the truth of the matter is life is an exam. You are being tested every day on a daily basis. What examinations help you do is to, you know, train you in such a way that you can manage pressure. You can manage the pressures of life because the pressures will come. Now, if you are given an allotted time to write an examination and you are able to pass, it's not because you are the best, it's just because you prepared harder than the person who was probably better than you. So examination is what shows how prepared you are and how you show your understanding of a particular subject. Now, if I say I do not want to write exams, I do not want to get prepared, here, the questions you ask us, we don't know what Mariah is going to ask us, but then we have to think on the spot and come up with an answer. It's an examination. So if you're not prepared, you're not grounded for that, you may not be able to succeed in certain aspects of life. And also, quickly, there are different types of exams which I would want our educational system to improve on. We have most exams are just basically paper tests. Like she said, you can, if somebody is not passing well with the paper, give the person practical. You can do practical, you can do oral. Just find ways.
Let me let you respond to that.
So what I would want to say might be out of point, but it's about examinations being money-making machines. So what if I have studied in English the whole time? I studied in the UK, for example, and then I have to progress for another degree course, and they're telling me to prove that I can speak English and write English. What's wrong with my certificates that you have seen? The certificate is from an accredited university, and then you insist that I take TOEFL or IELTS. Yeah. Are you for real? Right. So these things are money-making ventures on another note.
Let me take a comment from the audience before we run off. Yes. Morning.
I believe that every one of us is intelligent.
Yes, we are.
It depends on our levels or how fast we can learn. Okay, let me use my daughter as an example. She's in Basic 2. Before now, the teacher that was there before now, she would just give them the test or exam, and everybody is expected to write at a particular or within a particular time. And you find out that some of the pupils were making 60% and below, and those that were very okay could get up to 90. But now, the last term that just finished, they brought another teacher, and this guy devised a means to help these children. No matter how fast you learn or how slow you are able to understand what he's teaching you, he will think of ways to help you recall what he taught you before now. Yeah. And you find out that last term, all the pupils were able to make above 90.
You see?
So every one of us can learn. We can learn.
Okay, I have to wrap up on this. Yes, go ahead.
What I wanted to say here is that one of the problems we have here is our teachers are not educationists. They are, you just maybe come out of, have your grade 3 or grade 1 and you become a teacher. Yeah. So you are not really
in Lagos State, too, I know that all their teachers are highly qualified. That one. Many of them have masters or they have PhDs in this Lagos State.
You see, you can have a PhD if you don't have it in education. You can be a graduate now. She can come today and say, oh, she's an accountant and she can teach. She cannot teach. The reason why she cannot teach is because she did not learn how to teach.
Yes, okay, all right,
that's the difference.
We have to wrap up on this, but I think we can link it to our next topic, which is about teenagers. Because a lot of teenagers, we're having issues with teenagers, and these are part of the issues. When they're having troubles in classrooms, they begin to find other vices. So we'll discuss that with our next topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. So we hear young people say, there's no point talking to you. You don't understand me. You don't even know me. Teenagers say this all the time. There's also this belief that teenagers are not so close to their parents, and this usually puts a major strain on their relationship. Now, joining us to discuss more about this is a coach, Mr. Gbenga Obakin. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
You can call us on 070-806-6814. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourVTVC so we can read your tweets. I wanted to link it up to our last topic, which is somewhat related because a lot of young people struggle through school, and some of these things causes depression in kids, and affects their relationship even within school and even with their parents. And that's what I know you wrote a book on that. Yeah. But tell us your insight in how to help teenagers, especially, resolve their internal issues, especially at that age.
The most important thing, I think, at the teenager level is self-confidence.
Self-confidence.
Yeah. The parents and the teachers, people around the teenagers need to help them build their confidence, because I think the confidence plays a major role, and it leads them to see what their mates are doing, what other people are doing, if they want to go towards that trend as well. So when the teenager has self-confidence, you know, you feel that, oh, I don't have to copy what my mates are doing. And our parents can do that. You don't need to compare your children to other children. Some parents do compare their children. Oh, that one is a good child. I can remember there was a time a friend came to me with that his mom, when they got home, his mom was saying, can't you see Gbenga? Can't you see his results? You know, and the guy felt bad. I mean, it doesn't have to happen that way. We can't all be on the same level. You know, like in UK, they group students based on their level. In primary school, in secondary schools, if you're an average student, group you in the same class. If they think you're a genius, they put you on an harder level so that you can operate on your level. The guy that can operate on a low level will not feel intimidated, you know. So parents...
Because he's working with the group that's in the low level.
And they turn out to do well. Even the genius will do well. The average guy will do well in life. So it's the self-confidence, needs to put that self-confidence.
So when you tell a child that you're unintelligent, you know, because going back to Reno Omokri's tweet, you're unintelligent, you failed your exam. These are things that build low self-esteem.
Yeah.
Because I try to tell my kids, you're competing against yourself. Let's review your last term's results. And how can you do it better? So the only person you're competing with is yourself. And once kids have that, they don't worry about what the next person is doing because they're focused. But is that a good way? Because the truth is that in life, there are people you have to also, they tell you to aspire. Look, have a role model. You have somebody who you are looking up to. So where do we draw? So where do we draw the line? So your role model cannot be your peer. It can't be your peer. If your peer is doing so well, you know, I want to do as well as Obi Ajilu. I want to be an entrepreneur like Obi Ajilu. She's my peer. So can't I?
Child.
I want us to see the differentiation. Are we saying, and I'd like you to help us, are we saying that we shouldn't let children compete? Yes, we get that. But can't they aspire, or can't their friends inspire them to be better?
Yes, that's why a circle of friends matter as well. As a teenager, it's a good time to choose your friends. You might not know what you're doing, but choosing friends at that level means a lot. But the structure in Nigeria doesn't help. You know, I might choose to be a carpenter, a bricklayer later in life, you know, but the structure in Nigeria, people look down on those people, you know, but which is also in the Western world. You know, it might be a doctor, I may not be earning as much as a bricklayer, but the structure here doesn't help us. So what we should do is to see the best we can bring out, encourage the kids, know where they're, okay.
Can I take you up on where you said choose your friends? What if your child doesn't even know better in terms of choosing friends? How do you get them up? You can see that this set of friends that you've chosen are bad for you. How do you get them off their backs?
As a teenager, at that age, you can know the kind of friends you keep. For me, like I said, perfect things do not exist, yeah? But you can aspire. I mean, you have a bigger picture. You say, I look at Mariah on TV, and I said, I want to be like Mariah when I grow up, you know? That, you look at people that talk around the same angle. When you're in class, you see some people won't take their studies serious. Some people even way back when we were in school, people were talking about deals right in secondary school, how to make fast money and all that. I mean, you don't want to be friends with that kind of person, you know, because, I mean, what you are right now doesn't mean that's what you'll be later.
Yeah, go ahead, Waki.
Now, I was going to ask, how do you find out if your child or teenager is keeping the wrong friends? Because you may not, they will come to you and they are all well-behaved.
Yes.
If you don't that's where you have to have a relationship with your kids. It doesn't start at the teenage. You can't build that relationship at the teenage level. It must have started right from when he or she was a kid. You know, that's when the child can tell you everything. You know, it will tell you he's going for a party. You know, it's your own to now say, oh, please come back in good time. You know, we've had parents, oh, you can't go to a party, you can't do this. The children will rebel.
Some parents stop their children from being friends with certain people. For example, people that are maybe at a lower level, or maybe at lower social economic status. And people frown at that, how can you stop your daughter or your son from being friends? But the rationale some of them have said, and I've had the opportunity to speak to a few people, and their issue is that they don't want envy to breed as they grow. Because as you're growing up with the child, one child begins to say, okay, my father has a car, your father doesn't have a car. Okay, my father has a house, you are living in this place.
We go on vacation.
We go on vacation, you don't. So the dichotomy begins to be wider, and you see it, and then the one who is supposed to be maybe disadvantaged, instead of being inspired, now begins to envy. So those are some of the reasons parents give us, I don't want my children to associate with certain groups of people. Now, does that make sense?
Well, to me, it doesn't add up, really.
Okay.
Because, for example, while I was growing up, my mother and my father were teachers, secondary school teachers, you know. And my father was using a 504 Peugeot. Yeah, I had friends, their father were using Mercedes and all that, you know. But I think for me, that's why I always talk about self-confidence. It doesn't mean they are better than me. When a parent, when I go to my friend's house, when I relate with the parents, they will be able to see that, oh, this guy is not really after my children because of what we have, you know. And you should always have something to offer, no matter what, you know.
Okay.
So I know that being a teenager, it's a lot. There's a lot of pressure. You are
Serious
confused
pressure.
most of the time.
Serious
I passed that phase, and I had issues, deep issues that I couldn't discuss with anybody. I couldn't discuss with my father because I felt I couldn't reach him. He was too harsh growing up. So I was scared to approach him with certain issues. And I was the first child. I didn't have, my younger ones were far behind. I didn't have, you know, I didn't have family that I could, elder sisters, or that I could, you know, tell things that were troubling at that time. But as a parent now, I'm beginning to see that if you don't get very close to your children, for them to be free enough to tell you everything, a time will come when they start keeping it from you. So I want you to give an advice to parents who are raising kids right now. How do you ensure that you make it very easy for your children to approach you on any matter, whether it's boyfriend related or not, any matter?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It starts from like 2, 3, 4, you know, you get close to your kids. You play with them, you relate with them, not putting your face up all the time in the name of, I'm a father, I don't want to get too close to them. Because there's a time you even need them to relate with you.
How many kids do you have?
Not yet.
Oh, you don't
yeah,
have
but the thing is...
You don't have any, but you wrote this book on teenagers.
Yeah, because...
What inspired the book? And because it says good teenagers do, then you in bracket, not exist.
Right.
Perfect team.
Based on the path.
On yourself.
No, based on the, the topic of the book, based on the path you take. The thing is, I'm the last born of my family, 5 kids. So I have nieces that are even married. I stayed with them all right from they were young, they were babies and all that. So I see how they do. Especially my sisters, anytime my nephews misbehave, I'm the ones they call. I'm the one person they will call. Even my nephews, when they have issues with their parents, they call me themselves.
They relate to you.
Yeah, because I share life experience with them.
Okay, I'm not even sure we can even end this conversation here because there's a lot of angles. Because as you're talking, it was bringing back a lot of memories. As a kid, especially as teenagers, we've had issues. It's not just a sex issue. There are other issues where a teenager, I remember as a child, my major problem with my father was the fact that all our friends, everybody was buying a Mercedes V-boot. My father stayed with Mercedes, that 200, that old one.
Regular.
Not only that, you'll be sounding when you're driving to school, everybody will be here. I'm like, why is this man bringing this car to my school every day to pick me up? I used to hear the sound. The image was a problem.
Yes.
So as a teenager, there's that issue that I have to look a certain way. I want to.
Your own was good, though. Your own was the car. I remember my own. All my cousins were going to London. I said, this London. Let me go and tell my father. Fella, he was driving. I said, fella, the two of them, they're all going to London. I want to go. We want to go, all of us. Hey, my father, inside the car, he looked back. London? London? You want to go to London? To go and do what? What do you want to do? By the time he finished with me, I was like this.
I was staying in Nigeria.
So London, I didn't see it.
Yeah. So you said these are the kind of issues that teenagers are going through. Their friends are traveling abroad. They don't look the part. They're not wearing the thing. I mean, I hated the fact that I just wasn't wearing anything in. Every summer, there was this guy, I'll never forget his name, or last something, I can't remember his surname. This guy comes with a yellow lunchbox set, big, small, medium. They put sandwiches, everything, the whole thing complete.
Ew.
You bring it out, red and was yellow and red box.
Ew.
You open it up in school like this. And then I come with those rubbish, like rubbish sponge bag. That thing affected my self-esteem for many years.
Ew.
But you went to Ajebota school.
I said, we were on the floor in our primary school.
I said my own.
So that's why I said we can't.
Our clothes is Baba Taylor that used to make our clothes.
I know now.
So we
My
can't.
friends, hey, they are clothes. When you see them like this, I had one friend, Audrey, if you see her put this, you just be looking at her like this. Me, it's Baba Taylor's dress I'm wearing.
So we have to wrap up on this, though we cannot finish this conversation. So I think we need to bring it up again. We can even continue tomorrow, where we're talking about how to help teenagers. Because beyond, we always think is the sex issue. It's beyond sex. There are other things that these teenagers are dealing with. So maybe we can even bring in an expert tomorrow to help us understand how to raise teenagers in this 21st century. Exactly. We have to go on a break, unfortunately. But thank you so much for joining us on this show.
Thank you very much.
When we come back, we're going to talk to our woman we love. She's doing great things. I would like to find out what she is doing. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for staying with us. She's a media leader and consultant par excellence. She derives joy in giving people a platform to speak, share their inner strengths and experiences that challenges the listener to make better choices in life. She mediates on Michelle Obama's quote that says that leadership is about changing traditions to honor the dignity and humanity in every individual. These words propel her to always question the status quo. Welcome with us, Mrs. Okwe Wemi Jones. Wemi Jones, welcome to the show. I like the Wemi Jones. What's this? You gotta tell me what's that about? How did you join that name together?
That's not an interesting question, but a question I have to answer all the time.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And I was still telling my husband, I went for a speaking opportunity yesterday, and the organizers came and said, oh, I love your name. And I said, well, I'm just trying not to brag about it. But I'm so confident I have a very lovely name. So it took me like 2 weeks to a month after I got married to be able to drop my new name at work, because I was trying to do a permutation by combination to be sure exactly what name I wanted to answer. So Wemi Jones is a combination of my husband's first name and his surname.
Oh,
and
nice.
I decided to shorten my own first name, because I thought I was then going to create a rhyme, because my full name is Okweyemi, so I couldn't do
Okweyemi Jones. Oh, that would have been nice. Okweyemi Jones.
Sing song. So I love my Okweyemi Jones.
That's nice, fantastic. Good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
So we want to. I know you have a lot of experience in helping women, especially to build financial independence, also strengths in customer service. You talked about, and I read your profile, and one of the things that jumped at me was the fact that you try to help companies build that soft, the other soft attributes aside from training that helps to build profitability. Could you tell us what that is about? What's that part of building a company or building a business that we don't look at, that we just only focus on training, that helps to increase profitability? Okay,
so post my work life, I will say, as a professional, and I developed the interest in customer service in the course of doing my job. So when I stepped out December 2018, I'd always known that by the time I leave this banking that I've done for the better part of my life, I was going to focus on customer service as a competitive advantage for organizations. So when I stepped out, I wasn't confused about what next to do. It was clear that was what I wanted to do. And why I thought it was worth focusing on is, if you look around Nigeria, whether it's the large corporates, whether it's the small businesses, customer service is something that I won't say not existent, I would say almost not existent. Mm-hmm. And most organizations, when you talk to them, they say, we've been training our employees and we've not seen the difference. So there is no return on investment, as it were. So I said, the issue is not training, because if you have a workforce of 100 people and you're able to send 20 people on training, it really isn't going to change anything. And if you are training them just once in a year as well, don't expect a magic. It's not an Alice in Wonderland kind of experience. It requires more than training. You need to go back to the basics. What are we about as an organization? So what we do in my company that is called the Customer Focus Company is basically to help you integrate that culture into your corporate strategy. So you start back to the basics, as it were. So it affects how you bring people on board. It affects who you get to work with you, and a couple of other things. So it's not when you've hired the wrong people who hate customers and then you start training. It's not going to work.
It's sounding interesting already, but let me go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue. I also need to know your softer side, though. This is just your professional angle, but I know you have a lot to give us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks. We still have Okwe Jones with us. I'm going to keep saying that name. Yes. I want to say something.
Yeah. So I'm an accountant, and I get to engage with people a lot on that note. And I noticed one of the things that you do is financial literacy education. Now, when I relate with clients, a lot of times what you find is they mix business with personal funds. At what time should financial literacy education be introduced? How do children start to learn financial literacy? Those, where should that come in, especially for the curriculum, school's curriculum? So,
I might also interest you that I'm also an accountant.
Perfect.
but it's not. My story into accounting was similar to the discussion we had before I came on, when we were talking about children, education, school performances, choice of courses, and all of that. So I don't think I was taught how to be an accountant, but my mom thought I could be a good accountant. So I'm a qualified accountant, but it's nothing I really think I want to use.
You're not passionate about it?
Not exactly. So, and I think financial literacy is different from accounting and the basics of accounting. Interestingly, I also do financial literacy for women and children. And the idea is this. The schools do not make provision to teach children about financial literacy or the basics of money management. Parents don't have the skills, I'm sorry, and so there's really nothing you've got to offer your kids. So what I do is to go back and using things that children will feel comfortable with, things they can relate with, to teach the basics of money management. And the first time I realized that there was a gap, I think it was about 2010 or thereabouts. There's a week in the month of March every year that is dedicated to teaching children or just heightening the awareness about financial literacy for children. And I was handling that in my workplace at that time. So I had some children, year 10, year 11 children, come to my bank then to come and spend time and let's get to know what you understand about money. So we sat around the boardroom table. And I got talking with them. So I said, oh, how much was the highest money you've earned? What have you done with money? When you got those monies, what did you do? Like about 20 children, everybody, if I give you 10,000 naira now, what are you going to do with it? Everybody was going to get into the cold store, go to the KFC. Only one guy said, oh, my uncle gave me 10,000. And my mom's workers, my mom's office is within the house. And they realized, or he realized that every time the workers, they put water in the freezer, by the time they come back, the workers would have taken the water and all of that. So he decided to start selling pure water to the mom's workers that work in the house. And I was really, really intrigued by that, his example. And I said, oh, so how much money have you made from doing this? And he told me how much he had made then. That's a lot of years ago. I'm sure the guy would have graduated from uni now. So I used his example to then tell the other children and see what this guy has done for himself. He looked at an opportunity. So he's not paying for water, he's not paying for electricity, and we can pardon that because he was just a teenager. But he's making money by making cold water available to his mom's workers, and at the same time, he's ensuring that the rest of the family, when they get back to the house, they can still get cold water. So financial literacy is very important. And teaching children about saving, giving, donating, and investing. As early as 6 years old, children are yearning to learn about money management.
I only teach them saving. I only do saving. We don't do investment yet.
As a kid, my uncle had a clinic in front of our house, and they used to come round. So I had a shop, where I was selling provision. I was making money. I don't know what I did with the money now, but I know that I was making money. When they passed, I would say, I have this. And because I was a child, they would just want to patronize me.
I understand.
So I really see to that what that boy was doing.
So a lot of parents have insulted me saying that I'm exposing my children to money at an early age. Because what I started doing was to get them to understand that when you give value, money comes. So they massage me. I like to be massaged often, and I pay them. And they save. So while my son, he's 8 years, was writing his goal for the year, he said he was going to make 10,000 naira by the end of 2020 from massaging me. And this is a boy who goes to school to write stories and sells for 50 naira each. I didn't teach him that. I just noticed he was doing it. But some parents have called me out to say that you like money too much. You are exposing these kids to money. And there was a time I was feeling bad. Am I rushing it? Should I wait for them to finish secondary school? Now, how do you get parents involved to understand that financial literacy is, important for them and their children?
How early?
I think the first thing to do is for you to first of all even agree you don't have that understanding. Because if you don't have, what you don't have, you cannot give. And I will say, and the fact that I have come to that level of awareness, and I think it's something I also want to pursue and help others people imbibe, doesn't mean I'm also a superstar at it.
Right.
Okay.
So for me, the first step is for the average mother, the average father to accept that seriously, I'm very bad with financial management. That the economy is bad is not the reason why you don't have any money in your savings. That you don't earn in millions is not the reason why you don't have anything in your savings. It's just because you've not imbibed that practice. And it's never too early to imbibe it. Your children get gifts, money gifts, cash gifts on their birthdays. You go to places, they give them money. And when my parents are bad, especially the moms, I go back to that, my example, when I had children. So I said, okay, the monies you have, where is it? Is it in the bank? Do you have a bank account? He said, it's with my mom. So I say, ask her. And it was like a chorus answer within the room. Hey, you dare ask your mom? Ask mommy. He said, you do know my mommy? And children, when you have time for them. Said, do you know my mommy? The last time I asked her for the money that somebody gave me, said, the money you used for your hair, where did you get it? You've been eating. So anyway, that money never came out. So mothers are not banks. So you should expose your children to that basics. And for me, and from research and everything, it starts from age 6.
Okay, you said something I'd like to harp on you. You talked about investment, because in my own house, we save.
Good.
Saving is almost like, once they get money, we have a piggy bank, they go right and put it in there. Once in a while I open it and I realize that, but what can I do beyond that money for them? They know the money is there. They always remind me, Mommy, I hope you are keeping our piggy bank safe. But what can I do with that money? What's the next step?
You've taken the very first good step of having a piggy bank. And I've seen a lot of things on social media encouraging people to get a piggy bank. And after that, that session was actually, I think it's now fundamental to my interest to also be a channel through which people can learn financial literacy. So people do piggy banks, and then it remains piggy banks. The idea is start with a piggy bank. So your children have imbibed that culture. So there's piggy bank to the bank. So during the holidays, because children, and when I then realized how distant children were from the basics of money management, was when I realized that even my own kids, I haven't spent all my years in the banking industry, they didn't even understand how people make money and all of that. And you go to the ATM, they think it's your card that brings out the money. They don't understand that you've done something in your account, and then the card then responds to you by paying you when you put it on the ATM. So the first thing is to now say, make banking one of the places that visit to the banks one of the places that children go.
Okay.
So you've done the good job of the piggy bank. The next thing is to say, now your piggy bank is getting to the bank. Let them take the piggy bank to the bank. Open the piggy bank in the bank. Let them count the money and put it in their account.
Wow.
So your money starts to work for you because you get residual income from savings. It's not a lot of money. So I'm going to that. It's not a lot of money. And I'm saying that savings is not a process to making you rich. It's not, saving on its own is not what makes you rich. Okay. It's what you do with the savings that make you rich. So people tell me, I can't put my money in the bank. How much interest will they pay me? But you will never buy that house if you don't save. So where do you put the savings before you move to real estate and the other big things that you want to do? So the first step to the bigger picture and the bigger things you want to
gather the money.
Exactly. And if it's piggy bank that is going to help you, start with your piggy bank.
You know why people don't trust banks?
This is not about banks.
Banks hold up with your money. See, I had one savings in one bank like this. When I went, I drove to the bank. The bank was not there again. I said, where is the bank? So I started calling people. They say, the bank has folded up.
This was a day general. This was a day general.
Bank of the North.
Oh.
That's how my money went to. I never saw that bank again. That's one. Another one. My daughters, when you are christened and everything, they give you money.
Okay.
I opened the savings account. In fact, that bank is still existing, but I don't know if they will give me my money.
Okay, well, interesting. So again, even though this session is not about banks, but let me also share based on experience. If that bank is still existing, I'm so sure that your daughter's money can be traced. Yes. If it's still existing,
even if I can't find the saving card,
you would insist and keep everything you can remember. You keep telling them. Fantastic. It might take them a while. It might not be immediately you get there, but eventually.
The branch.
Okay, well, I have very few minutes left. Let me let Samina,
and then you take it.
Let me let Samina throw in the question. Go ahead.
So about the literacy, and you did say 6 years old. I'm thinking, with respect to the curriculums in schools, how can this be incorporated? Is there a subject should come up, or should this excursions be? Yeah.
You know, there are several things. I actually have a program on financial literacy for children. There's a particular one that is called Moving Out. You know, you send your children abroad at 16, and they still don't have these basics. A 16-year-old in Nigeria is still pampered. A 16-year-old abroad is an adult. And you pay for houses, you pay for your bills. They don't do that here. So they get there and things just get out of hand. So there's a program that is called Moving Out for that age bracket. And there's another one for the younger ones that we also run. So it's to your question as to when do you bring it in. Schools have rigid curriculum at the moment. Yes. So we've tried to talk to a few schools to say, integrate this into your curriculum. Use it as an after-school activity. Do it as summer programs for children to attend. They just don't seem very receptive to it. So we've said, okay, maybe by the time we start doing something on our own and they see how it works, maybe they'll get interested.
There's a question I want to get to you. Well, I'll come to you, because before you leave, because we have very few minutes left, and I want you to inspire a lot of women. Okay. There was something you said in your profile that now your kids are grown, and you're able to pray with them, you're able to pray in the mornings, go to the gym. You're trying to make up for lost times when they were much younger. Yeah. A lot of women are in that situation where you were many years ago, where they are losing time with the kids. They're spending so many time searching for this big money, doing a lot of going for meetings, coming home late, doing a lot of bank work. And they're feeling that guilt, like, oh man, I wish I was, am I a good mother? But you are trying, at this point you are right now, you resigned from the bank, you're owning your own business, and it seems as you're making up, and you said something about making up for those periods. Yeah. Is it, can a woman who's going through that now really make up for those lost times with her children, especially now that she's making a lot of sacrifices?
Okay, so I don't think what I said was making up for those lost times. Okay. So because now, and even while I was in the bank, I do say, as the opportunity presents itself, that I do not think that my peers who were homemakers have raised better children than I have. Okay. So yes, it was a tedious job. Yes, my kids grew up knowing me in meetings. I can't pick your call now. I'll call you later. You know, they knew me like that. And I remember when I told one of my sons that I was leaving, he said, "Mom, congratulations on your freedom." Oh. He understood. You know, and I was like, was I in bondage? Apparently, maybe I was, and they've been pitying me all along. But with God's grace, I will say, and with support systems, I have lovely kids. I have lovely kids. I have a set of twin boys, you know, and I have my daughter who is a teenager, that the session before everything that was being said resonated completely with me. So I don't think it's about being with your children all of the time, because the truth is you can't actually be with them all of the time. So one of my kids was not home for Christmas, and I was sure that wherever he was doing what he was supposed to be doing. You know, that gives you the comfort. You can't always be with your children, but that time you have sitting together, riding together in the car, make it quality time. So, and I took that from one of my bosses who said, you know, there's nothing called work-life balance. What you need is quality time in people that are very important to you. So my family, all my 22 years of working, leaving early, coming back very late, I never lost sight of the fact that there's certain people that would always be there for me and certain people that I would always have to come back to. So they've always taken the position they needed to take in my life.
Right. I was going to take you back to... customer care. Yeah, because that's what we really lack. You know, I mean, it is as bad as if you go into an office now and the people are nice to you, you want to faint.
Yes, so
you won't believe it. Why is she being nice to me? Does she want something from me? This one is, and even a lot of time when they're nice to you, madam, they want something. You know, how can we imbibe that customer care in this Nigeria? Because it's really, really lacking. I have my staff that I'm constantly on it.
Yeah.
Do you understand? I'm constantly, look, please, so, please.
Okay, so customer service is such a big thing that everybody talks about. And I think the talk is so much more than the actions. And what I've said to people, especially with the launch I did in December, so the title of the book I did is Coach Me on Customer Service. And what I said is, customer service is really not as technical as what we've all made it to be. So as we're seated around this table, we're engaging with each other. Impressions are being created. Yeah. You need to stage what you want to see. And you need to be intentional about what you're doing. So for organizations, I will say that it starts from who you hire. So and we've always said that everybody that doesn't have a job probably doesn't deserve a job because there's some basics, sorry, not in that sense. Everybody doesn't have a job needs to show that they deserve that job when the opportunity presents itself. So for the guys hiring as well, it's not about taking the first person that comes to you that will take the little amount that you're throwing on the table. There's some basic things that you need to have. And when you bring people on board, it's not how you dress and how lovely your office ambience is that is going to make the person start giving good service. You need to invest in education. You need to invest in training. And training on the requisite and important things that you want them to exhibit in the workplace. So it's a whole thing. So the employer has a role, the employee has a role, and the customer has a role. Because there are instances as well that because we carry that title called customer, we also work into businesses and we're very rude.
Yes. Yeah.
So and because the person you're speaking to is also human, at times it's just difficult to be able to curtail it. And one of the things I said, I have this service stress ball that I said you can also give to your staff. That every once in a time when he looks at it, you're about to lose it, please just take your service stress ball and tell yourself that, I can handle this.
Okay, let me just take one comment from our audience before we run off. Yes, madam, go ahead.
Good morning.
I want to talk about my daughter.
Yes.
She was 5 years plus, and this last week Wednesday we went for a party, New Year party. So there was these people seeing her. See me, you're here. Where's your mom? And she said, my mom is there. They gave her money, 500, 1,000, 200. Threatening her just like that. And I said, see me. This is New Year. We have to start saving. We have to start saving. But I now want to ask, is it good for her to be saving at that age?
5 years old. Yeah, I think she has already answered that. Definitely. Saving is the first step. Every child must save. Especially, you're right, New Year's, Christmas, we had lots of money. And
what about the criminal mothers that chop the money?
We can only pray that God will forgive all of us.
Mothers, please.
Yes, God will forgive us.
Unfortunately, we run out of time. I'd like you to leave a final nugget for women out there, especially career mothers. And as you said something important, that those who are stay-at-home mothers, they're not raising better kids than you did. Can you just encourage working mothers? Because many of them have this guilt trip that I am not giving enough. Just give a final moment, then we wrap up.
I think what I'll say is you only fail when you don't serve your purpose. So if you understand your purpose as a mom, as a wife, and also as an employee or a business person, and you sit down and say, okay, these are the different roles or caps that I'm wearing, and you apportion time, just like we talk about these savings, you allocate money to be spent, money to save, money to donate, and money to invest. I think it's the same thing. 24 hours in a day, how do I allocate it? I remember then, as tough as it was, because it was quite tough, I would still get home and do homework. My kids will send the homework when I'm at work. I'll print all those things they need to print. They will paste and all of. I was doing all of those.
You were present.
I was doing all of those things. So I would sign record books to say homework has been done. The only thing I knew I didn't do too well was showing up in school. And I had a support system for that. I had a driver that was with us for over 10 years. And I could leave my kids with him. And they were always in safe hands. So it's not just about me. So I'm not coming here to say I was that superwoman. But I'm saying that activate your support system. Realize your purpose, realize what is important to you in life, and allocate your time.
Thank you very much. That's all we can take today. We'd like to appreciate Cream Slices every Wednesday. They give us a beautiful cake. Thank you so much. We love you. And our audience, thank you so much for joining us. Mwah! Have a fabulous day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.